Hi, everyone. Welcome to Fiction in Real Life, where we talk about is real life stranger than fiction. Before we get started, we're just going to take a sec. Oh, before we do that, do you notice there's someone missing in our group? There's a hole in our screens. It's Julie Daines is not here with us today. She's watching from the ICU. She's taking care of a family member, and she's got that going on today. So we miss you, Julie. Um, so let's talk about it really quick. What is everyone up to right
Okay, so Jen looks like she froze a little bit. I'll go first, maybe, and share that. Still excited about my To Kiss a Wallflower anthology that's coming, but I was just now working on my edits for a historical fiction I have coming out in 2023. So that's how far in advance we sometimes work on projects, and I am in the middle of that and loving it. It actually made me cry. So that's what I'm doing
Wow.
today.
now? Okay, am I still frozen? Can you
No,
guys
you're
see me? Okay, sorry, I don't know why.
We got you.
Heather, what about you? What are you working on?
So I have a book that's coming out in a couple weeks. It's called Hannah, and it's biblical fiction. So based on the story in the Bible of Hannah and her son Samuel. And so I'm just starting to get reviews coming in and sharing some promotions and marketing going on. So that's kind of what I'm up to.
Thanks. Okay, and I haven't been writing as much. I've been reading a lot, and I was going to tell you about this book, Red Cicada by Greg Luke, that I read, and it's super cool. This is going to be our giveaway today. So for someone that leaves a comment, this book is Greg writes suspenseful thriller kind of books. It's about a woman. I think her name was Lana. She discovered she had something implanted in her head, and it turned out to be some kind of information that the Russians want. And of course, there's a handsome lieutenant who is protecting her and also looking for answers. So a little romance, a lot of suspense, thrillery, scary, bad guys. It was just great. It was really fun. So anyway,
And
leave a
yeah,
comment.
I think I've read almost all of Greg Luke's books, and they're excellent stories.
Okay, you guys, let's go. So, if you haven't ever joined us before, here's how we do our show: is we will tell a story and then vote on whether we would put it in a fictional novel or not. So it's usually a story that maybe seems too out there to be real. So I don't remember what order we're going in. Heather, will you tell your story first, please?
Oh, sure. So this was kind of a interesting escape, and if you guys maybe you don't remember, but I'm sure you've heard about when the Berlin Wall went up in 1961, and this was a time when it was basically in the middle of the Cold War, and so you had the city of Berlin inside East Germany, which is controlled by the Soviets. But within Berlin, you have a west side, which the British, the US, and the French controlled, and then the east side controlled by the Soviets again. And so when they started putting up the wall, it was actually just a barbed wire going all the way through the city of Berlin. And this was a lot of people were already either escaping or planning to escape. But this was interesting because this was Konrad Schumann, and he was an East German border guard. And he was helping put this wall up and helping put all these barriers up. And I guess he just decided this is my chance before the permanent wall goes up. And so he left over the barbed wire and went into East Germany and escaped that way. And we were talking earlier is this a staged picture? And no, this is actually a real picture. In fact, there was a lot of media on the west side filming and photographing the wall going up. The world was watching what was happening and asking why wouldn't the the other allied powers, stop the Soviets from doing this. And it was just because there are so many things that it was trying to decide how much are we going to push the envelope or let the other side push the envelope, because no one wanted World War III to start. And so that's one of the main reasons why the wall did go up and was allowed to stay up for a long time. But this is just one of the daring. There's a lot of daring escapes that happened during this time. But this is interesting because it was someone employed by the Soviets that did try. He did escape. So
Wow.
Well, Jen, what do you think about that story? Would you book it?
Absolutely. I have this big book at sign again. Sorry. There we go. I absolutely would book this. I just feel like my heart goes out to him. Even Sarah's or even Heather's like slow retelling was like so gripping to me. I am all emotional about it already. That guy. I want to know his story. I'd love to tell the whole thing.
I agree. I would love to tell the guy's story, even if I have to fictionalize it. And just imagine, like, what did he leave behind? His family, probably. I don't know. Was his family on the other side or kids? I don't know. Gosh, what kind of decision would that be? My, well, anyway, I won't get into other things, but I have heard stories, like escapes from East Germany, and they're unbelievable. Just anyway, okay, Heather, what about you?
Yeah, I definitely would book it, whether I write it or definitely something I'd want to read, because I think there are, like you mentioned, there are a lot of amazing stories during this time of people that were put in those situations of sometimes choosing between family members and their own lives. So it's definitely would be a story worthy to tell.
And freedom, yeah. Just anyway, okay. And if you can't, I didn't say that we have a theme today. It's called jailbreak. So we have some jailbreak stories. So Jen, would you tell us your jailbreak story?
Oh, I'm so excited to talk about this guy. Okay, so there's a man named Alfred Hines, and he's now called Houdini Hines. There he is. There's Houdini Hines. He's out. They call him Alfie or Alfred, but he became quite famous because in 1953 or thereabouts, he was put in jail in Nottingham prison because he was accused of jail robbery, of a robbery, but he denied it until his dying breath. He said he did not steal anything. It was unjust. And so from the moment he got into jail, it became his mission to escape. And apparently he's genius level smart. So like after he finally got free, he joined Mensa, and he's just a really smart guy. So I'll tell you really quickly the three big Houdini Hines jailbreaks, because he's done it 3 times that I know of. He memorized the shape of the key that opened his cell. And they had this like prison craft time where you could make metal working, and he actually carved out and designed
Oh my gosh.
the shape of his key, and then he opened his own cell, and somehow they didn't notice that he's walking around. I don't know that part, but he got out of jail. So they caught him 8 months later, put him back in jail. So he's in jail again, and this time he is, wait, I want to make sure I want to get it exactly right. This time he has he's appealed to the courts that he wants to be free. And on the day of his court hearing, he has a friend meet him at the courthouse, and he asks to go to the bathroom. So the guards take off his handcuffs. His friend has drilled into the bathroom wall like those little loops that can accept a padlock, and has brought an extra padlock for this guy. So he goes to the bathroom. His friend helps him push the 2 guards into the bathroom. They lock him in with a padlock, and he runs off with his friend, and he escapes for about a year and a half and lives this life. But they catch up with him. He's in an unregistered car, and they find him, and he goes back into jail. And then the last one, he's rearrested, and no. The last one is he actually like got free, and years later they pardoned him, and he's at a university activity, and the university students try to lock him in a room. And what he ends up doing is within about 20 minutes, he's escaped this room, and all the university students instead are locked in there, and he's free. So those are the 3 that I wanted to share. There's one more mild jailbreak that he did, but I feel like this guy's a genius. So he was all over the press. He became somewhat of a hero, and it's still not certain whether or not he actually robbed anybody, but he was pardoned. So that's Houdini Hines.
Wow. Okay, Heather, what do you think about Houdini Hines?
There might be books about this, but I think it's definitely book worthy, because I just find it fascinating, that kind of intrigue and those kind of escapes. So anytime there's like a movie out that's something like that, I always grab it to watch it.
And I am going to disagree a little bit today. I mean, he's a criminal, so I don't know. Maybe he could be. Maybe I would have to really change around things to have a good guy escaping. But anyway, I don't know. He's kind of a bad guy, right?
Well, and he kept getting caught, which is kind of funny that he was a master artist at escaping, but he wasn't
Yeah.
smart enough to not get caught again.
Register his car. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Jen, what do you think?
I'm torn. I think it's intriguing and it would make a good storyline all the different ways, but I feel like I maybe wouldn't book it, or if I did, I'd gender flip it and make some girl Houdini Hines, and have her break free. It reminds me of Scarlet a little bit. I might do something like that, but I don't know that I would actually retell this guy's story for sure.
I agree. Okay, I've got the last story, and it was actually sent in by my dad, and it's about a person that he knew in Croatia when he lived in Croatia. So I have my dad's email up here, so I'm going to read it a little bit just to get all the details right. So Dubravko is the man's name. He was a member of an elite special forces unit of the Croatian army during the war with Serbia. And so his unit is assigned to cross this river and go into Serbian controlled territory to do a recon of, where the armies are or whatever. So they go, and their special forces unit gets captured. And the Serbians take them to their camp and line everybody up and start executing them with just a single gunshot to their head. So when they got to Dubravko, the executor guy, he pulled the trigger, but the gun misfired. The officer holding the gun examined it, reloaded it again, and put the gun to Dubravko's head, pulled the trigger again, and nothing happened. So he threw the gun down, and he said, "Tomorrow you will be first," and then walked away, and they locked up the rest of the guys that hadn't been executed. So he knows he's going to be executed the next day. And so I know it's kind of dark. So he knows he's going to be executed the next day. And so he knew he had to escape. So he fled from the Serbian camp and went straight for the river that they had crossed the day before. So he looked back and he saw that the Serbian army's chasing after him. But as he kept going towards the river, he's like, "Hey, where are the people chasing me? I don't know. Well, I'm just going to keep going." And then once the sun came up, he realized that he had run across a minefield in the dark, and that's why they hadn't gone after him. So that was separating him from the people pursuing him. So there's the story. It's pretty intense, but it's like, holy cow, right? Hey, Heather, what do you think about it?
Wow. So of course, as I'm listening to you talk, I'm like, would I write a book about this? And I think of all the research, but the story is amazing. But I would probably say no, just because it would be like starting from ground zero for me to like do all that research that, that time and the era and the people and the culture and the conflict. But that doesn't discount the amazing story.
You're literally the best researcher we have here.
To me, I look at, okay, this would be 6 months of my life.
Yeah, learning about Croatia and the Serbian conflict. Okay, Jen, what do you think?
I think I would book it because I just was thinking about this week about all the mines that are left over from all these wars all over the world. Like, not in the US, we're so blessed, but we ourselves have left mines for people to accidentally step on all over the world. And a part of me would kind of like to bring that to light a little bit. Just, is there something we can do? Can we get rid of the mines? Can we not kill any more people with the mines? It's just getting a little bit off topic, but I would, just because I feel like it's valuable information that a lot of people don't know. And what a miracle that it was a miracle. He would not have, he had to have had some kind of divine help there, really.
Yeah.
And you would like to bring awareness about the mine situation. I don't think I would book it. I would have to change it a lot, fictionalize it a lot, because I don't know, the execution part, it creeps me out. It kind of just feels so heavy and dark, and that's not the kind of thing I write. But it is such a cool story, and yeah, why do people keep making mines? It seems like a bad idea. But anyway, so there's one other thing. Last week we had a sponsor. It was Sweet Salt Clothing. And there is still a code you can use. If you go to sweetsaltclothing.com, you can use the code Heather, like a discount code. And what is the discount? I don't remember.
I will just add it right here really quick so that it'll be part of this.
Okay. It might have been like 20% off. Oh, 15% off at
Yeah,
Sweet Salt
50%
Living.
off. Yeah.
So that's still valid for a couple more days. All right. And so as we continue this video cast, make sure you send in your stories. We love getting the stories. It is the funnest thing when I get a text from one of the people on our group and they're like, we got a story, listen to this. So any weird stories from your life, something you've heard about, something like an urban legend in your hometown, a funny tradition at your high school, maybe a weird practical joke someone's played. What do you guys have any to add?
Those sound good. All the romance ones, funny
Mhm.
proposals, odd family situations,
Yeah.
vacations went awry, all that kind of stuff
Stayed
too.
in a haunted house or,
Yeah.
Well,
everything.
and if you've already submitted, then you don't need to resubmit. Like we've read all your emails, but we just try to see what we can categorize and kind of group together.
Mhm.
So the ones that have been submitted, they still might be used.
Yeah, we keep them because they're
Yeah.
awesome. Okay, so don't miss our next episode. It's going to be in 2 weeks from today, same time, same place. And thank you for joining us on
Fiction in
Real.
Life.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone. See
Bye.
you guys.